the hub should take care of things.
Then, can you hear us, Tracy?
It's probably not charged.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can.
So to charge it, we just take this end off.
You want to move this so you can see better? The nice part with this room, just so everybody knows what we're getting set up here, these tables are completely
Oh, yeah, they're on wheels.
movable.
I kept trying to use.
And there's no wires.
Doing
So we can spin it wherever we need to make it fit for the wall.
Yeah, so you're at 0%.
Okay.
So unfortunately, this is the best way to charge it unless you can find one that has a
Yeah, we built the room for a whole
a
lot
brick
of
like
uses
this
and
has a
that's
light.
Okay.
make it so it works for people. Are we
But it
blocking you
will
in too
charge
much,
it
or are you
from
okay?
here,
Son?
no?
No.
It will charge it from here.
Just make sure I'm actually sharing the correct screen. Okay, this is a lot of review for some people and probably brand new for others, especially for Darren, because he's been teaching for the last 2 semesters. But the first module is just kind of an introduction to Brightspace, so it's going to be a little bit of a refresher for some of you. There are pre-recorded videos that if you wanted to go and review, and then more often than not, if you see a video, there's always going to be a PDF that kind of has the same information, just depending on what type of learner you are. But I'm just gonna go into this one as my example. Switch my mouse back. Okay, so I always pretty much just go straight to the content page. That's where all of your modules are gonna be. This one, I don't know if anyone else they're used to like the weekly modules. It got a little bit of getting used to for me to not see the weeks, but you do actually have the option anywhere you see this. Double click here. Oh, I forgot I'm in a student. Hold on.
It'll change your view a little.
Yes. I will point that out. If you ever want to see what students are seeing, you can click on your name and do view a student, and it'll kind of toggle, and then you'll see what students see. So I was expecting to be able to edit. Students can't edit anything. And the same to turn
Thank God.
that view back off. Oh my God. Imagine the chaos they could create. Okay, so if you ever wanted to change, we do try to keep some sort of consistency, so most courses will be like week 1, week 2, week 3, but a lot of faculty will want to add
I can't hear right now. Lost you.
Okay, sorry, I think I muted it when I moved the keyboard out of the way. Tracy, can you hear us now?
I can, thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, another piece that's going to be very helpful for you, Jamie, when you're creating things, if you put a module in there and you decide you want to move it around, anywhere you see these little 8 dots, that little handlebar, you can drag and drop. I'm going to go back to using my mouse. Then you can move that to reorder. If you've created a module and you want to put it under a different week or something, that sort of deal. Try not to move any of your content.
No, that's all right. Just scramble us, what the heck.
I think either my iPad froze or Brightspace is having a little seizure because it's never done that to me before.
It's going fine on the screen.
No, did you see where it says 9933? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I see that too.
Like, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, you can just grab those handlebars, you can reorder things any way that you want. Okay, so we've probably, except for Tracy, I haven't had an orientation with you. So just kind of briefly, you have your content, which is literally your table of contents that we're looking at now. A feature that I like to highlight, just because I was a former librarian, I love to be able to search. If you ever want to find out what module you have a certain piece in, I don't know if I have anything go react is coming into my head. Nope, I don't. And you would find wherever you've got anything about whatever piece that you've put in there. So if you wanted to quickly find information on rubrics, let's say, then you would find that. And usually at the very, very bottom in most courses, there are going to be 2 modules that just kind of get auto-populated. One is for like student resources, like ed tech sort of thing, and the Office of Student Engagement, and then one for library and APA. Those are pretty static. You don't have to do anything with them unless somebody tells you, like, I guess last semester the WAC page, the URL changed, and so we had to edit that, but those are usually at the very bottom. So that's the content page. I'm not going to open the class list, but that would be where if you wanted to email all of your students, you could, I'll go ahead and show you. Just select all, and then you could email, and I would almost always recommend anytime you're making an announcement, like putting a text announcement in Brightspace, to also send it, whatever it is, just duplicate it via email. So they're seeing it in both places. Because especially if it's an important piece of information, you want to make sure that they're getting it. So that's an easy way that you can, message them all at the same time. Or again, if you just needed to grab one email address, you could pull it from there. There is over here, just quickly, it'll show you the last time that they accessed your course. We'll get more into those kind of tracking pieces under the class progress though. And then we're gonna skip over grades. And in the class progress, if you do wanna see, like the last time they logged in, what pieces they looked at, then this right here will show you when they last logged in and how much of the content they looked at. So you've been very busy, Jamie. I can see 8% already just today. And the course tools, the key ones, so I mentioned announcements. That's where you can create an announcement. Even if it's just like your welcome week, you want to let them know what you expect them to do before class, or just go to your discussion board and introduce yourself. You can do that from here. You can also go in and schedule them so that you can just save as draft and then put a date that you want it to start. So if you're planning now and you just want to get it in there, and then you can schedule it for a different start date. And so I'm not going to go over all of the course tools, just the assignments, discussions, and quizzes for now. Assignments, pretty self-explanatory. It's anything that is submitted. So it could be if they're uploading a file, they could be uploading a video. There is an option for, just as a placeholder, if you wanted to put an assignment that is called observed in person, just so you've got the ability to have an assignment that is then attached to your gradebook. So your options are text submission, file submission, paper submission, and observed in person. And in most course templates, there will automatically be weekly discussions, just because they're kind of finicky to set up, because you have to create a forum and then a topic discussion, so it's kind of a multi-piece thing. But if you're not using them, you can leave them. Most of these are all hidden. I'll touch on that real quick. We've only completed like the first section of our launch. But anywhere you see something that is hidden in your course, you can quickly toggle that back and forth. Just click on that crossed out eye and you can make it visible. You'll see that in almost anywhere. You could click on that eye. Otherwise, there is the option that just says make visible to students. So a lot of times if you created an assignment and you're getting students that are saying, can't see that or I can't access it, first thing I would do is double check that you've made whatever that is visible. So anytime, I'm gonna go into an actual, my test course, so I have content to demo. So in most courses, you're gonna see what I would consider to be a placeholder for an activity, whether it's the quiz or the assignment. So your assignment would live in 3 places. It's gonna live on the module where the student would click out. It's gonna live in the assignment tool, and it's going to live in your gradebook. So in the manage grades view, then you'll see all of the activities, your quizzes, your assignments, your discussions. So when I say it lives in 3 places, it has to be associated in all those 3 places. So if you're seeing, it'll say broken topic on your content page, that means that somewhere along the line your link is broken. So if this, for example, said broken topic here, since it already exists, you would go to here and, well, I guess it's not gonna show me because it's not broken, just sync it back. So it would drop down and would show me all of the assignments or all the quizzes or all the discussions. That's how you match that up. Same with an assignment. You notice these little icons here that looks like a ribbon. That ribbon icon means that it's in the gradebook, which is pretty imperative if you want to grade something and get the score into the gradebook that it's associated. It's not crucial. There are a couple faculty members that just manually put grades into the gradebook. And then this icon means it is a group activity. It looks like the 3 people, almost like a Teams icon. That indicates it's a group activity, and this one that looks like a key, that means there's a password. Sometimes faculty will, just as an extra layer of making sure nobody starts an activity or a quiz beforehand, a password is included, and then you have to give them that information before they can start the quiz or the activity. And this other one down here, this icon that looks like binoculars over a paper, that means that it's attached to Turnitin. So when the student submits their paper, then it goes to Turnitin, which gives like a similarity score. It's more of a plagiarism or an academic integrity sort of layer that is added. And I did just answer a question this morning with an instructor. Let me grab email real quick. Just so I can show you what it looks like on the student end. What it is that they see. So for this one, this would be when the student logs in, they could see that their submission, they could see what their percentage score was, and then if they clicked on where it says view e-rater grammar feedback, on your end, you could put in inline feedback, like writing on the paper, and that's where they would see that.
On that turn it in, what's a good percentage to know that they basically didn't, I mean, because in some cases, you're going to get like 10, 15, 20%. What do you tell faculty to really?
I think it's case by case. That's why I definitely tell them to go and look at the report, because it'll highlight and show what the percentage is. Because if it is definitely something that's got an in-text citation, you're like, okay, well, that makes sense. It's flagging it because it's seen it before. But if it is, their own verbiage and it's not a paraphrase, then you're like, okay, that to me would be a red flag. I don't know if there's a clear, would you say, percentage?
I tend to tell people at 20%, I start looking
Yeah,
more
between 15 to
seriously.
20, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, what's happening here, but, like you said, if they're quoting something, it all depends on how many quotes they have and how many references and things like that, but
And
once
also,
you get,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
once you get to 20, then to me, it's kind of that, okay, what are they up to?
We need to explore that further.
You also have those class assignments where, here's your five things that you needed to discuss, and they would copy and paste, here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3, so on and so forth, okay.
That's why I think it's important to look at the inline, because it'll highlight, it'll show the percentage, and then especially if, you can see that it's a citation, but your assignment. So if you kind of anticipate that all the students, especially if it's a case study and they're all talking about the exact same patient information, you're like, okay, that's why it's flagging that as a similarity. So there could be sub variables of why they're similar versus like a full-on copied paper. Good point, thank you. There's a whole piece that we're gonna do on quizzes later, so I think for today, I'm just gonna the basics of this toolbar across here and then any of these pieces here that you're gonna wonder what the heck they are. So we talked about the little icon for the ribbon. I am gonna look at the grades. Typically when you click on grades, it'll show you your grade book. I don't have any students, so I have mine set to look just at managed grades. When I'm doing any kind of troubleshooting or quality checks, this is where I go first to make sure that, just like we saw that ribbon when we were in the other tool, you're gonna see an association. So it's gonna tell you it's associated to whatever tool. So this assignment, an external learning tool, the star indicates it's a bonus activity or a bonus point is involved in that. Let's see if there's anything else there. This asterisk, I'm gonna go ahead and open it, means that the activity itself is not being included in the gradebook. This one, sometimes a faculty, they don't want to assign points necessarily to that introductory discussion. They want them to do it, but it's not worth points. But Brightspace does require at least a minimum of 1 point. You can't make a 0 point activity. But you could also set it so that that point isn't actually attributing to the overall grade. You can set things up as pass or fail. I can go over that later. Just wanna make sure that we've touched on, okay. Anytime you see this little guy, the stopwatch, it literally means it's stopping the view. So it means that after whatever date you've put in here, the students can no longer access that activity. Not just to do the activity, but to see any feedback on the activity. I would almost caution not to do it because it seems for me, troubleshooting wise, to cause more problems because then a student can't see something, the faculty doesn't remember ever going to do it. So I would say don't do it, but if you ever see that little clock, you want to get rid of the clock, just drop down to edit and then delete whatever end date, because that literally is you can't see it anymore. Stops the clock for them. I don't see any more of those sort of deals. Today I just want to hit on the main points of navigating the different toolbars. Because we're going to go into content in the next one on how to add and edit. Did you guys have any questions right now? I tend to talk really fast.
No.
Okay. So the key thing is to make sure that if you want it to be graded, that you've got this little ribbon here and that in your grade book, it's also associated. We'll go into this more, but just in anywhere that there is a drop down, you're almost always going to have an edit option, and then for your assignment, in order to grade it, you would go to view submissions, versus if you were in your discussion, you would drop down and assess topic. And quizzes. Isn't that wild that everything is so different? It would be grade. And go back to our required content, make sure we touched on all of them. There's not a lot that is crucial in the supplemental, because I would say everything I showed you is pretty, in order to navigate your course, you need to know it. But I did put kind of the guidepost to get to additional resources, either from the Brightspace page where all of those training videos are. Too many windows open. That's why I had it in student view, because I didn't want it to open my HTML. There. Okay, and then I have the contact info for EdTech. I would say for what we're doing now, 90% of it, you could email Mark Spencer or I, and we can answer a question, but if it's a problem with like a connectivity issue with your iPad, or like this morning when we were having to get the Atlas downloaded, that would be an EdTech.
So EdTech help desk?
The help desk, yes. So the NMC help email here is the primary contact that I would recommend. And in addition to the Brightspace training, there is also, how did I get here? I'm gonna make sure that you guys are enrolled in this. There are bits and pieces here on the new faculty resource roadmap. This is largely intended for, I think, full-time faculty, but there's also the create resources that you might be interested in. This is a lot of duplication of that survival guide that we looked at this morning. But just in case you want a deeper dive into some of our older tips and tricks on different resources, those are on there. A lot of it, again, are kind of not recycled, but repeated on that survival guide. It must have linked out to there. I'm like, how did I get to that?
With that?
I'm like, how did I get to that page?
Yeah, so yeah, you must have linked out to the old one. The survival guide really is kind of that new way of getting to everything. Brightspace is nice, but trying to navigate all the material sometimes gets a little cumbersome with all the clicks. And trying to do My Methodist and Brightspace and all those different places, I got lost when I was coming on. So we really built that whole idea of the survival guide to make it so we can find our own links.
Keep on the great work.
The nice thing about the survival guide is that it's literally kind of an index of all of these other links. I mean, for the most part, it's going to take you to a Brightspace page or back here to the launch course or to My Methodist, unfortunately, or unfortunately, we'll look at My Methodist briefly, to the main website, anywhere that there's going to be information. We just wanted to create a single click point to get you to where the information is. A lot of times it's going to require a login, but I would say whatever your login is for your email for Teams should get you to it. Go to, can I get to My Methodist on my laptop? I mean, on my iPad. Yes. So there are also links that are over here on the left side that may or may not be helpful. There's the help desk info again is over there. If you're ever on campus and need to print, if this loads, there's some quick instructions on how to print either via paper cut or to the hold queue. We'll just look at it without clicking it.
Good luck.
This will get you back to the main homepage. There's a quick link that'll get you to Brightspace or to your email. The menu for Deja Brew. Here's, try, see if that actually opens. Information on paper cut. And this, like many, will take you back to Brightspace. This was that page that I showed just a little bit ago, all of the different resources that are out there. A lot of it is going to duplicate what we're working on in the launch course, but I think redundancy is good just because you're seeing it more than once. think the very last piece I was gonna show, in addition to whatever content we've created in-house, I did put the YouTube channel for D2L, the Brightspace platform, which you can find additional videos. It may or may not be easier to search on here than to try and find what you're looking for in the Brightspace training. And these are either made in-house at D2L or some that are other institutions, so they might look a little bit different, but it'll still give you the basic steps on like, how do I add a rubric, or how do I regrade a quiz? Those are the main guide points I wanted to make sure that we covered. Because like I said, today is just like an orientation to the pieces of Brightspace, which I would think most of you are already very familiar with or playing with. So if there's anything you wanted to look at closer. Because I feel like it's not till Brightspace session 2 that we start like putting content in. And if at any time you want to look through the weeks that we've got, I think open until week 6 now. There are quizzes associated with each week. And I have it set for multiple attempts. They should be easy quizzes. I would hope that we've covered everything that you need to answer the questions, but we just ask that you get, I think it's 90% or greater, in order to say, you know, I have mastered this content. Did you have anything that you wanted to add, Spencer?
No, I guess, I know, the course basics, PR1 is fully good to go, which is basically what we talked about today.
Mhm.
And then PR2 is hidden because you haven't taken the test yet as a student, right? You're still in student view.
Yes, I'm still in the student
Yes.
view.
So eventually, the only thing that you're going to see in here is just the sessions you've completed. So we will eventually, in order to get to the next session, you have to pass the quiz, so.
And I think in my B3 section, I will talk about intelligent agents, like pacing things and release conditions that you can set up so that students don't even see that there is X activity until they've completed, you know, A activity. Which I also think can be a detriment if they're not aware, because I did have one of the Spanish courses, they couldn't even see the module 2 because they were supposed to read their syllabus and do the syllabus quiz. But they wanted to see what content was in there, and like freaking out. I'm like, I see content. What do you mean you don't see any content? This course is full of content. But yeah, switch back to your student view if you're ever confused about them saying they can't see something, and then you'll see what they see or don't see. So I would almost say put that either in your overview, if you, especially at the very, very beginning. How did that happen? Is Mark playing with it? I'll cover this now. We are not, in most instances, going to be using the new content experience. If you ever see that it comes up with what looks like little boxes over here, that means you're in the new content experience. Close that out.
You have to hit done, yeah.
This little thing under the ellipses over here, it'll pop down and you can leave it off. And then it looks like what you were expecting. I don't know that we have a timeline of when we're switching back, but if for some reason it does it to you, just drop down and switch to turn it off. You would think that it's not that big of a deal, but it has happened with many adjuncts that students, they get confused because it does. It looks very different than what they're used to seeing. So like, how come my history course looks different than my packet course? That is why. And it just, right now, there's 2 pieces that are issues. The way that videos are playing, and then when you're going to take a quiz, that it opens in a new window. And for the testing center folks, that is a non-starter. You can't open a new window. The proctoring software won't let them do it. So it's mainly for for two specific reasons. We are eventually, for this launch piece, going to switch to the new look. So when you come back to this at some point in the semester and you're like, why does this look different? That's why. We're just, for our own, getting used to it, playing with it, gonna switch how it looks just so we can get more comfortable with it as we roll it out to faculty. I would say it's probably not gonna be until either next spring or next fall. It's not gonna be anytime soon. So yeah, if you wanted to look ahead at anything that is open, you can go ahead and look at just to work ahead and get familiar with things. If you do have any questions along the way, like I said, you can email Mark. We do have a create email address if you're not sure who to address the question to that we all have access to. You can just email create@methodistcollege.edu and whoever can answer the question will take that email. I think that the basics I wanted to cover, I have gone over. Anybody have any questions for today?
My questions are more about editing the current course. So since there's already a bunch of course material in there, if I get in there and start playing with it, can I put my pieces into it but still leave those other pieces so they don't get lost?
Are you editing in the test site? Do you have a sandbox?
I don't know.
I would just caution about, and I'll double check because we have to keep an archive of courses for 5 years that are not edited in case a student ever needs to file a grievance or whatever. What I would do is copy, especially if it's in your test site, we'll export it and put it into your sandbox so you can play with it there. And then after you're done doing all of your edits, then we would export it back into the live site.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember because I remember back when we were back and forth about whether you had access that Matt was going to put a shell into, oh my gosh. I'll just see if you're in here and if you have any. Yeah, unfortunately today is more about just like a show and tell, and then it's not till next week that we do more
Okay.
hands-on investigating. All right, it looks like Matt does have ICS 325 and 440. Are those the two courses that you're gonna be?
Probably. I don't know what the names, I don't know how they have them named.
Yeah, we'll see if, I'm hoping that since he's got them named that he moved content in there, but if not, then I don't see anything. Would you want me to export what was taught last fall into this shell just so you've
Well,
got
I
pieces to work with?
think I think I was able to get in and see his course because I was looking at it while I was on vacation.
Gotcha. Well, I don't want you to do any editing to the old
Okay.
course. I'd rather move his copy into the sandbox for you to play with there, if that makes sense. I'll do the same for whatever the other course number was.
Okay.
Just so there's no chance that we're playing with the live site. Yeah, I will move whatever the previous content was for those two courses. Are you already enrolled for any fall courses or just finishing out the summer?
I'm just looking around in summer right now.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And then
Okay.
I was following along in my clinical
So
shell.
these are the ones that I'm gonna be teaching.
440, 330.
Okay, do you have any questions, Tracy, or anything that you wanted me to go over today?
Here.
No, Kathy Thompson has been helping me quite a bit because I have to course coordinate in August, and so I kind of have to leap forward pretty quickly.
Yeah, you gotta hit the ground running.
Yes. So, no, I think I'm good with this content.
Okay. I mean, it seems kind of rudimentary, but I feel like just knowing where to click on what things mean is pretty crucial foundation to build on. So I think for today, we should be,
Yep.
we should be good. And then we will see you again next Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to close out of this.
So
Good
this one's
afternoon.
not showing up for some reason. But see, that says fall 22, fall 22, fall 22. So you don't have your actual courses yet.
Okay, so there's no, so a sandbox is something that I can just play with?
Exactly.
But then you can move
So that,
forward.
so that would look like I don't have a sandbox then?
Yes, what they're doing is they gave you the old shells so that you can look at them and get to use to that information or content. And then Sonia can give you a sandbox to play in, mess around with, and then Matt will eventually push over.
Yeah, usually middle of July, early July is when he actually has fall ready. So the fall stuff probably isn't even.
Okay,
out
so
yet.
there's nothing for me to start building yet.
I'm gonna move the content into those two courses on the test site so that you have something to play with, and then you can create your own modules, move things from there, and then I'll probably just leave like it has the 1 through 5 up there, blank, and put whatever, then the other stuff will come at the bottom so you can see what had been there. If you wanted to pull anything, move it around, or just know what was there.
Okay.
And then when it comes time to actually export, then I'll probably walk you through it. Delete anything that you're not exporting, so that when you save that package, it's exactly how you want it.
Okay.
We'll get to that though,
Okay.
down the road. I just want you to have something to be able to work with.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you've at least got the sandbox ready.
She needs
I
a
need a
sandbox.
sandbox. I don't have a sandbox.
That's what those two that I showed are.
How do you tell if it's a sandbox then?
Because it's on the test site.
She's not on the test site though.
Okay, go ahead and just in between where the NMC and Brightspace, type in test. And that should get you to the test server.
So right after NMC,
That URL,
the word
sorry.
test.
Oh good, it's not just me. My cursor was not like letting me click in there either.